Friday wraps up 3 straight home games here for the Toronto Argonauts as they welcome the Montreal Alouettes to town, 7:30 Eastern, right here at BMO Field. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Keys to the Game. Mike Hogan, Sean Bowen, and we've got a special guest, Royce Metchie, joining us here on Keys to the Game. Royce, 2-0 to start the season. That's got to feel good for this group, no?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially there's kind of some questions about how this team was going to look, and I think that kind of silences some doubts so far.
You guys got the team that knocked you guys out last year in the playoffs. Is there extra motivation for this game? I know the whole mantra of 1-0 is, well suited in that locker room, and that's the philosophy you guys live by. But is there extra motivation going up against this team?
100%. Just like deep down, everyone kind of has that in the back of the mind. Like at the front, we kind of understand that they're the most important opponent just because they're this week's opponent. Mm-hmm. But yeah, at the back of the mind, we still got to kind of get them back from what happened last year.
Was this something you circled at the beginning of the season? Were you looking, when's Montreal, or when are we in Montreal?
I had this circled since last year, honestly. I had this one circled since last year.
Last year, what may be forgotten by a lot of folks is how well the defense played in that game. Mm-hmm. I think Cody had 175 passing, Stanback had 15 yards, 7 sacks last year in that game. Can you replicate, or at least do what the mindset was last year, the game plan, or do you have to change it up at least a little bit? Because it works against them.
I think in all fairness, we are going to just have to be very assignment sound in what we do, limit explosions, because they watch film. So they're going to make tweaks just as we're going to try to game plan them from last year and this year. They're going to do the same. So our focus is being assignment sound, executing at a high level, and limiting explosions.
You talk about being assignment sound. I mean, I assume that you guys are going to see a heavy dose of Tyson Philpott. What goes into slowing him down this week?
Trusting in our game plan. I think we got a good game plan to be able to neutralize a lot of their threats.
I guess when you look back, defense gave up a lot of yards, a lot of points for a couple of games, a couple of blows early. How important is it to be able to get the 2 points and be able to see in lifetime some blown assignments so you can learn from them and move forward and not make those same mistakes going down the road?
Like you said, it's super crucial, right? Yeah. Because there's some things we can't replicate in practice, and it's like you need the live reps to be able to feel and to be able to correct them, and for especially young guys to be able to get more experience and just the feel to be able to say, okay, now I see how I got to play it, and so that we could correct it and move forward going on.
And offensively, the linemen talk about cohesion and how important it is to know each other. Back end of the 6 guys, 3 are new. In the middle, each other. We got the 2 corners and new Sam as well. How long does it take usually for a group to mesh?
Oh, that's a tough one. It depends.
I didn't say I was going to ask just easy questions here.
That's a tough one. It really depends. But so far, I would say it's been coming along pretty quick. Even just between me and Quincy, the communication there, I'm noticing it's starting to get much easier, and we're able to start to communicate without much verbal cues anymore. So I think sooner rather than later for us this year.
I think you're the first defensive person we've had on Keys here to start the season. I mean, what's the transition been with Coach Ivan, and how has that come together so quickly this year?
It's been an interesting transition. And I say interesting in a good way, just because he's been here with us, and a lot of the terminology we're used to with him, right? With him and Coach Fields. So it allows us to still play fast. Mm-hmm. But also with them having the reins now, it allows for their creative side to kind of pop out. And so it's I know that there's still some things in the playbook which we haven't yet shown. So kind of excited for those things, right? So
I'm excited for this one on Friday. This one should be a good one. We got a big one coming up too. We've got Ricky Ray getting honored as one of the top Argos, so it should be a lot of fun. Royce, appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining us here on Keys, man. Good luck on Friday. We appreciate you stopping by.
Absolutely. Thank you guys very much.
Big time shout out to Royce for joining us here on Keys to the Game. Hoagie, it's a battle of the unbeatens Friday night, 7:30. My friend, take us through what it's going to take for an Argos to move to 3-0.
As I mentioned to Royce, whatever they did in the Eastern Final last year from a defensive standpoint really worked well. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're going to get 7 sacks again or limit the back to 15 yards or hold Fajardo under 200 yards, especially for a defense that's starting to gel, but it still doesn't really know each other on the back end. So it's a tall order, but just I want to see gradual improvement on the back end, especially because there was a bad, blown coverage in the first game, and there were a couple of guys that get beat in the second game. Just tighten up the secondary a little bit, and I think that'll be key. Keep the running game going. Top of my head, I think the numbers were, after 3 weeks, Montreal is second in rushing yards per game at 95.
Yep.
The Argos are first in 153. I think that's the number. So there's a sizable difference between what the Argos are doing on the ground and every other team in the league. That is going to be a key, is to get the ground game going.
And that's a healthy Kadeem Carey right there.
Yeah.
That's one of the big reasons.
And if it's not, we saw what Deontay McMahon could do. He had that 45-yard touchdown run. We know what Adeboboye can do, and we know the Dukes can keep things going on the ground.
Yep.
So running back by committee, I'm fine with that. And the third one, my goodness, John Haggerty.
Aussie, I.
I think it's 51.5 roughly is his average
It's
so
nuts.
far through 2 games. Each of the last 2 games, he's put balls inside the 10-yard line, inside the 5-yard line in the dying minutes of the game that led to the winning touchdown, or the field goal last week, and the defensive stand that turned into the winning touchdown against BC in week 1. He's been spectacular. So there's the key again. Another big night from Haggerty will go a long way in turning this field and keeping the Alouettes with bad field position.
So we got the leg, the run game,
And the secondary.
We've covered all 3. All right, 7:30 Friday night right here at BMO Field. Ricky Ray being honored at halftime. He's going up on the all-time Argos list. It's going to be a fun one here. It's going to be a party at BMO Field. We want to see you guys down here. If you can't make it, you can listen to this guy and Ben Grant on TSN 1050. Until then, we will see you guys here at BMO on Friday. And then the Argos hit the road for 3 straight, pretty much all the way up until the end of July. Thanks for watching Keys of the Game. Mike Hogan and Sean Bowen. We'll see you guys next week.